friends, it's Laura with Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. I have a very quick and easy lunchbox card paper craft idea for you today. I used to make these for my little girl while she was going to school, and just to let her know that Dad and I loved her and was thinking about her and that she had someone on her side no matter what was happening at school that day. And he would pack her lunch every morning, so I started making lunchbox cards for him to throw into her lunch. So when she sat down for lunch halfway through the day, she would have a little note from Dad and Laura. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how I made this quick and easy, because I'm just going to tell you the first couple batches I made, I put a lot of work into it, and then I realized she's like throwing these away every day, which is fine because that's like the whole point, just like giving them a little simple greeting saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, love you, we'll see you later. But then, you can't keep all those things. So of course she would just like toss it out with the rest of her lunch. And I was like, wow, I'm putting so much energy into these. I should like speed up the process. So this is what I came up with. And I do have a file for you. If you look in the description box down below, I used ChatGPT and I just came up with about 50 different little sentiments that you can just print out and do the same thing as what we're going to be doing today together. And that way you can make these for if you have a little one at home, or maybe a grandkid or a neighbor kid or whoever you want to give little lunchbox cards to. These would be great little ideas just to help brighten their days. So if you are an avid scrapbooker or card maker, you probably have a drawer somewhere full of scraps. Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you that I haven't done a lot of cards in a while, so I have pretty much eliminated most of my scraps, but I do have some scraps laying around, and I'm going to make scraps just for this project so you can see the idea and the basic method behind the madness. And so you're going to need some scrapbook paper or construction paper or some cute paper of some sort. It doesn't have to be acid free because these are not going to protect photos for years to come. These are disposable little lunchbox cards. So just keep that in mind when you're selecting your papers. And then you're also going to need 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and you're going to also want to download that file that I mentioned, and you can print those out on 8.5 by 11 paper. The borders are off the table, but they are strategically placed for you to make this super easy and quick. So let's swing down to the table so I can explain exactly what we're going to be making today. All right, so I have went ahead and printed out all of the little sentiments, and there are 4 columns of them. Basically, they're set to where you cut them around 3 3/4 inches. Just kind of watch but leave them in these long strips, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I have 4 long strips from that file that I shared down below. I also have 1 piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I'm just going to simply fold this in half, matching the 2 long sides. Now, if you have a bone folder, go ahead and crease this edge. And that's just going to make sure that our little lunchbox cards open and fold nicely for our little ones when they're in their lunchbox. You could totally do these as like a postcard format too, where you cut this in half longwise and put this on both sides and then just decorate the whole thing. You can have like a postcard style if you don't want a folding card. All right, and then in my paper stack here, these are my scraps. I'm basically just going to grab some coordinating papers. And like I said, I don't really have that many true scraps laying around, but if you did, you're basically just going to put these onto your base cardstock, however they work. And honestly, I'm just kind of cutting down my scraps at this point just to show you the building up process. And I think maybe one more. If you watched my video on making 20 cards in under an hour, this is kind of the same little quick process. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run some glue down this, and I'm going to put this piece, and I'm just going to start layering my papers so it's covering the entire blue, or not. You could leave it. You can leave it if you don't want to cover all the blue. You could leave some of the blue showing. That's why it doesn't really matter what cardstock you choose for this. Now you do want to make sure that you go the entire length of these papers because we're going to be cutting them apart just momentarily. So just make sure you do have glue all the way down the long sides of the paper. And again, it doesn't have to, if it overlaps the cardstock, it's fine because we're going to be cutting some of that off anyway. All right, so you're just going to continue layering, putting your scraps on this until you like it. And then I'm just going to flip this over. And I'm just going to trim it back down to the 8.5 or to the 11-inch length. Now, if you don't have a paper trimmer, you could definitely use scissors for this process as well. This is easy, easy. Keep it easy. All right, now the last thing we're gonna, well, second to last thing we're gonna do, we're going to take one of our strips of little funny greetings. Now, I didn't add my name onto these, but you could definitely add mom and dad, or dad and mom, however you say it, or grandma or grandpa, or whoever these little cards are from. And we're just going to start it right at the top of this 8.5 by 11 paper. And we're basically just putting this in, kind of centering it on this half of the paper. Doesn't have to be exact, but close to it. All right, now all we have to do, these are set to where they're basically 1 inch apart. Now you could definitely leave this open and just cut between. Since I am cutting through so many layers of paper up here, I got my bigger trimmer out. You could also do this with scissors though. So if you don't have a trimmer, don't think you can't, that you don't have the ability to do this. You could totally do this with scissors. If you are confident, you can definitely close this up and cut them as cards. I need to change my blade and my trimmer. It's been a while since I've used it. All right. So in just a matter of minutes, now we have 10 little lunchbox cards that can be slipped into the kiddos' lunches. So that's enough for 2 weeks. So we have 50. So that's enough for 10 weeks of the school year. Make up a couple of those. And honestly, you could probably use the same 50. They're probably not going to remember. But that way you can just toss this into their lunch. At lunchtime, they can open this up and have a sweet little sentiment from mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa, or whomever these cards are from during the day. So how fun is that? How quick is that? How easy is that? Now, obviously, you could go ahead and go back and put some little embellishments on here. You could put their name or a monogram or whatever. You can definitely doll these up all you want. But it just makes it a really quick and easy little way to give that little ones a way to know that mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or whomever is thinking of them during the day while they're at lunch. And it gives them a nice little surprise. So I hope that you enjoyed this very quick tutorial on how to make your own little lunchbox cards for someone in your life. And you know, honestly, I would love getting these too. So maybe you have a spouse that needs a little pick-me-up during the day if you pack their lunch, or maybe just like slip it in their car or their wallet or someplace they're going to find it, their briefcase, something during the day that they're going to find that little lunchbox note. And it's like a really quick and easy way to use this method to just make a whole bunch of them up at once and use up some scraps and just have a lot of things done in a pretty quick amount of time. So until next time, find joy in all you do, carve out some time for crafting and creating, and remember, it's always better when you make stuff up.